Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. It is your favorite Dark Sorcerer here, Michael Hyson, aka Angelus, son of Abaddon. And today, I'd like to discuss Yule, okay? Specifically, the winter solstice, okay? Now, a lot of mythology and a lot of beliefs really touch on this. And when it was brought before me to perform or partake in this series on Yule, specifically that of the days of Yule, I contemplated on how to do it and how to go about it. For my own unique standards, I'm a sorcerer that likes history, mythology. I'm kind of a nerd in that area. I like to do extensive research. So for the last day, I've been really delving into this stuff. So here it is. Okay. Sunday, December 22nd, 2019, to Thursday, or to Tuesday rather, January 2nd. Well, technically, this is Thursday because Thursday, January 2nd, falls on a Thursday, whereas the 3rd of 2020 is on a Friday. Okay. Now, Yule has been associated in many cultures. Okay. And I thought I'd discuss a little bit about this. Starting with the viewpoints. Okay. For an example, in Norse mythology, it's associated with the Yule log, the burning of the Yule log. It's associated in ancient Gaelic with the mistletoe. Okay. The Christmas Eve or the Christmas Day, normally on the 22nd or 21st or 22nd, depending on the leap year. Okay. Now, what's interesting is in Indo-European and Germanic roots, it's known as the Yule tide. Okay. And is attested in the year 1475. Okay. So that just goes to show you it's been around for at least 800 years. However, this particular solstice predates that. It predates the Judeo-Christian Society, the Zoroastrianism. It goes back hundreds, if not thousands of years. Okay, so it's really nothing new. For an example, when we think of Odin, okay, in the Norse mythology, Odin is known as a solar deitas. Okay, he's associated with the energies. He's the hunter, known as the bear. Okay, the time of the bear, the hunter. He leads what is known as the wild hunt. This is also referred to as the ghost riders, or that of the pale riders who go off and seek the good hunt. Angelo Saxon speaks to the Modrian Ith, which is basically spelled Modraniht. It's one of those weird spellings that I think everybody has a tendency to slaughter in their own tongue. Okay, so it's really nothing new there. For an example, era Giola means before Yule, whereas Terra Gaola refers to as being the time after or preceding, past the waxing or waning times before and after the Yule solstice. Old French means jolly, whereas modern French means feast. Okay, so you see where things change depending on the generation or that of the era that it's practiced in. German paganism, it's known as the Winter Festival. Old Norse, it means bridge or rainbow bridge. Okay, the gateway or portal that's associated to the traveling or traversing the nine realms. Okay. Now, what's interesting is the Modrian knit, basically the one that I just spelled out as Modraniht, is associated with the collective females. Okay, mainly the female riders that come before Odin. Okay, they're the Valkyries who ride the horses. They're known as the myths, the legends, the women, the collective women that comes to the battlefield and collects the brave and honorable soldiers who have fallen on the battlefield and bring them to Valhalla. Okay. And what's interesting to note is that I'm going to get into this a little bit here too. For an example, in the Koliada, spelled Koliada, is the Slavic winter solstice. Okay. Hey, Divine, what's going on? The Yalda, spelled Yalda, night, is Iranian festival. Okay, the Iranian festival of solstice or Yule. Okay. Saturnalia is the Roman festival. Lori, spelled Lohri, okay, is the Punjabi winter solstice. Okay, that's spelled Punjabi. Okay, very interesting festival this one is, especially when you get into it because of not only the region, but it's more of the method of this of how they perform the rites and the rituals. Um, the Jewel board, okay, Scandinavian Christmas feast known as Jule, Juul, okay, for those of you who want to look it up, okay. The, as I said, the modern night, okay, Modraniht, is also the Anglo-Saxon Christmas Eve. Okay, and then you have the Disub Lot, which is Old Norse. Okay, but what's interesting to note here is that it's not just these old languages or these old regions. Grimoires are known to, and cultures are known to practice Yule. For an example, did you know that in the Talmud, it recognizes the winter solstice as Tekufat Tevet, okay? Spelled Tekufat space Tevet, okay? And the Chinese recognize the winter solstice as Dongzhai Festival, okay? And it wasn't until the 16th century that we see a whole new aspect of the Yule festivals, okay? And I think I'd like to talk a little bit about this because of the fact that the difference between the Western and the Eastern practices of Yule is, I found very, very interesting. For an example, dealing with the different cultures, dealing with the different grimoires that we have today. You remember what I said about the bridge, the rainbow bridge? Okay. The time of Yule is known as the dark time. It's known as the darkest time of the year. Now, why is that? Okay. Well, here it is. Number one, if we go with pagan and Wiccan and Wicca practices, who celebrate the god and goddess aspects, springtime into summer is normally the time of conception or that of giving birth to something new. Okay. In this case, we're going from the lunar cycle, the dark aspects of the year, which is giving or creating within a form of conception, that of getting ready to conceive the morning sun. Okay. This is associated with Lucifer and Roman and mythology, okay, and angelology. Okay. When we get into ancient Greek, we see another definition of this with the day star known as Phosphoros. Okay. But what's interesting to note is that it's also the time of Aquarius, because we're getting ready to go into Aquarius here as well. And when we talk about astrology and how it plays into effect, we've already seen how the Talmud recognizes it. Okay. But what about the Necromyicon? Okay. In Simon's Necromyicon, the journey of the Mad Arab begins in the time of Aquarius and goes between January and February. Okay. And this time of the year normally starts with political upheavals and normally deals with times of destruction like great floods or earthquakes, tornadoes, hurricanes, tsunamis, things that really bring forth the darkness, okay, even warfare, all right? But Yule is unique. This this one solstice is unique. It doesn't just talk about things like Orion's belt, which is seen as a gateway, a portal, a bridge, okay? But it also describes the conception, going from darkness into light. When we follow the Egyptian Book of the Dead, it literally describes the balance factor of light versus darkness, okay? Preceding one another. You remember what I said about the Wiccan, pagan, and Wicca practices? Now, we know that the god himself dies, and he's conceived with the goddess, okay? We've seen how she gives birth to the god in the summer solstice, okay, the spring or the summer solstice, the equinox, because this is the time when everything is born again. It is the time when things are created, like the tree of life out of the Kabbalah system, the Klippoth, the difference between the tree of life and that of the tree of death. All right, Yule is that darkness. We're in that time of darkness right now, the longest nights of the year, the longest time of darkness. But it gives way, it paves way for the light. History has shown this differential within contexts of various different cultures: Scandinavian, Iranian, Norse, Anglo-Saxon, Gaelic, okay, even Welsh and Indo-European. You go into old worlds such as Sumerian, Babylonian, you're going to see the same thing. But when we get into Gaelic, this is a section that is broken down into regions because of the northern part of Europe. And right here is where it gets interesting. These celebrations, like I said, deal with the mistletoe, the 9 herbs, the rare herbs that are used for healing, for preparation, for purging. You look at your lives and what you're going through right now. Just take a moment to reflect about what you're going through right now. In this context, we see the darkness. Maybe it's the lack of funds. Perhaps it's being jobless. But this darkness won't last forever. It literally creates and brings into play the light. When you do a ritual this time of year, you're calling forth good things, the positive. You're taking the negative, such as, say, for example, the Temple of the Feminine Divine. Okay, that's a group in this area where I'm at currently. All right. Now, every Yule, they take a wreath, a wire. Okay, and they take pine leaves. Okay, the pine branches, and they pass them out to all the patrons of this solstice, all those who chose to show up for this one ritual. And the idea is that you think about what you want to expect this coming year. Is this not a time of conception? The giving, the torch, creating that light. These things here are rituals, but they can also be associated with destruction. It comes down to the type of information, the region, Western or Eastern cultures. How a lot of this stuff came from the old world and is now in the new world. Now we call it Christmas or Christmas Eve. But back in the day, they had their own unique names for them. Even in Asian culture, when they practice this rite or celebrate this holiday, it is the same as the Day of the Dragon. A lot of cheer, a lot of joy, feeling jolly, celebrating, perhaps with eggnog or wine, alcohol. You look at the pagan practices, how they give cakes, wine, even NeoPaganism plays a huge part in this. Every source that I've dug into that speaks about Yule, the days of Yule, brings up NeoPaganism and just about everything, even Levian Satanism. Now, that there caught me by surprise, namely because of the fact that, to me, the Levian Satanists are atheists, full of duality, hypocrisy. And I don't believe anything that they say or do. But to find their name, their philosophy mixed in with this, it brought up a bunch of good questions. And when I delved into it, you go right back into the old myths of angels and demonolatry, such as Samael, the Venom, his consort, Lilith. Just as an example, the rituals of destruction and compassion, perhaps even lust, are played into this. You look at what you're trying to do. How do you take that from a thought form and make it reality? And this darkness that we're in right now is only momentary. But how are you going to make that reality? How are you going to make that spark, that creative sunrise, that solar eclipse? When you look at the very nature of the wild hunt, how it celebrates going after boars, how it goes after bears, how they ride forth before Odin. The ritual is spectacular. I do recommend that you look it up yourselves, and I'll tell you why. One one link that I found on Google when I was under Google looking for the stuff is this. It doesn't matter if you're going from grimoires, it doesn't matter if you're going from different pantheons of workings and belief structures. Google, I found one link, the 13 methods of practice of the days of Yule. 13 different methods of just practice. How to celebrate Yule. And when I read down through them, it really is inspiring. I never really gave much thought to Yule because I didn't really care to practice it. But after doing this research, I have to admit, next year I'm going to practice it. I'm going to go along with it and see what can transpire. It's been literally 7 years, 8 years max since the last time I celebrated Yule. And that was with the Temple of the Feminine Divine, the Pagan Pride Association. Now, as a traditional Satanist and necromancer, I really didn't have much use for Yule. But seeing how you can utilize this through the opening of the gates, through crossing a bridge, to the conception of a threat form, the applications you can derive from it, the different methods or mechanical mechanisms that can be employed, not just the Yule, the mead, the feasts, but it makes a lot of sense. You don't believe me? Good. I don't expect you to. I want you to go out there and do your own research into Yule. I want you to learn for yourselves. Because all the historical, the mythological attributes, and down to the physical, mundane practices of Yule is absolutely stunning. And that's if you're like me and a geek when it comes to doing research. I'm like a dog with a bone. Perhaps that's why I relate to Hecate so much. Maybe Freyja, goddess of mysticism, in Norse mythology. The warrior as an Aries, associated with Thor. Even that of Odin, the Lord of the Hunt, plays a huge part. Go dig into the information I just gave. See where it takes you. All right? I want to thank everybody that jumped on here with me. The Divine Seeking Serpent. I want to thank both of you for jumping on here. For those of you who liked this post, thank you. I hope you learned a lot. I hope it's been enlightening. And if you have any questions, feel free to jump on here and ask. You can even go to the Dark Sorcery group. perhaps even my own Facebook account. Feel free to ask questions. I will always make myself available to you. And that's a good thing, Seeking Serpent. I'm glad you liked it. And I hope you do go back. And Hero, how you doing? I wouldn't forget about you, Hero. But yeah, I want to thank you guys for getting on here with me and doing this. And I want to give recognition real fast to Alfredo Martinez, DH Thorne, Kari Darkstar, and Catna. You know, all of the admins who are doing these videos. Keep up the good work. And until next time, I'm out.